Hey everyone, this is the Kubeflow community meeting for the 8th of April 2025. The code of conduct for the CNCF applies as usual. Be nice to each other. You can read it here. We've got a lot of stuff on the agenda, so we're going to try and keep it tight. If anyone wants to say hi, who's never been to this meeting or hasn't said hi before, we're welcome anyone to say hi and what they're doing in the meeting today. If you're just having fun or if you're here for your company or something, just feel free to say hi now. Hi, Brian.
Hey guys, yeah, just quick hello. First time on the call. I've just started on one of the AI teams in Red Hat, and I believe I'll be contributing to Kubeflow over the coming weeks and months, hopefully. So that's me.
Cool. Dominic? Muted, you're muted.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so hello, I'm Dominic. I'm also from Red Hat. I am a community architect at our OSPO. I was lucky enough to meet a few of you at KubeCon, and yeah, I'm looking forward to helping out wherever I can.
Awesome. Hi, welcome. Anyone else? Feel free to raise your hand or just unmute to say hi.
Hi everyone. My name is Owen. I'm working on one of the AI teams at Red Hat, working with Brian and Sad, and I'll hopefully be contributing to Kubeflow in the near future. Nice to meet you all.
Hey, welcome. Okay. Anyone else? If not, then I'll give one more second for anyone else to say hi. Oh yeah, hey.
Hello. Yeah, I've introduced myself last time, but we'll do it this time as well. Yeah, so my name is Anya. I'm associate software engineer from Red Hat, working with the same team as previous guys, Brian and Owen. Yeah, I'm excited to be joining this community. Thank you.
Awesome. Welcome. Cool. Anyone else want to say hi?
Hi everyone, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm Liman. I'm a full stack engineer. My background is engineering. Currently, I'm trying to transition to cloud roles. So that's how I find out Kubeflow on the Google Summer of Code projects under the infrastructure in cloud. I'm trying to learn about it, and hopefully I'll be contributing to Kubeflow in the near future.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I think there does seem to be like 30 plus people in the call, so I'm just gonna let's just cut this to Ricardo now because we do have a release announcement. I'll let Ricardo take that away.
Thanks, Matthew. So just to share with you the big announcement, last week on Kubeflow Summit, we announced the release of Kubeflow 110, which includes a lot of good stuff. One of the things that I could highlight is the moderator UI, a lot of improvements on the security of the manifest and the components itself. The new trainer v2 APIs. Kubeflow trainer is the former trainee operator. So if you guys would like to take a look, go for it. We published a blog post yesterday with those highlighting topics. At this point, I would consider that all the remaining work we have for 110 to be 100% complete. We need to finish publishing the 110 docs, make 1.9 docs deprecated. And with that, I just wanted to say a huge thanks for everyone who got involved with the 110 release. Valentina was a crucial part of that thing. And during all of the process and during the KubeCon talks she did with a lot of us, a lot of other contributors like us. With that, I would like to also announce that Valentina will be the release manager for 111 release for Kubeflow. So I'll be staying low for a bit unless there will be any patch releases for 110, and I'll be helping with other work items under the Kubeflow community to help the community grow better. like the graduation, making a new and improved release process for the Kubeflow. And with that, I just wanted to say thank you for all the working group liaisons, for Valentina especially, to embrace the community better than expected. And I believe she will lead another great release for Kubeflow. With that, I'll open the floor for any questions and comments.
Thank you for your work on this, Ricardo. I know it's always it always is a lot of work. And hopefully we've learned things that we can make 111 easier to release. I, I guess we'll do a retrospective at some point, Ricardo.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for mentioning that, Matthew. Yesterday we got our retrospective for 110, so we raised a lot of good points about things that uh, work it better and things that need some improvement. I'll be working this week on publishing the retrospective in the community repo, just like we do for any release. And with that, I'll share this retrospective content with Valentina, who will work on the improvement topics for the next release.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So that we have because we've got some time constrained people, I think we should move on, but thanks so much for that. We'll probably talk more about the release and other things later in the meeting. Cool.
Thanks.
Awesome. Andre has this, I don't know what this topic is, so
Yeah, maybe before we jump to the discussion for this, I can give a short update for the KubeCon. What do you
there you
think?
go, if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I did want to show this work to you specifically in the training community, but that's fine. We can.
Yeah, I can do it quickly. I think we can discuss it maybe next time as well. I think like this KubeCon was a huge success for us. I think like we got the biggest audience so far in our summit, and overall, I think the experience was amazing. I mean, for those who didn't, follow what's actually happening, but Kubeflow was mentioning in the several keynotes multiple times, and almost all the organizations who can take very seriously for AI and ML workloads consider to use some of our components and projects, which is amazing. Like we see a lot of great stories. Like for example, some folks have been using Kubeflow pipelines for sign language recognition, and it was a keynote when basically they're talking about how they use it to help people to understand sign language, which kind of like awesome. I would love us to build the connection with end users and contributors so they can share more stories within the community. We also some have a lot of great keynotes from Vodafone folks from telco about how to use Kubeflow. So like Kubeflow was mentioned in the keynote several times, and we have a really successful summit. I would say a huge thank you to Valentina and other folks who helped to push the summit forward. We have a lot of exciting updates there, starting from the release with Cache, with talks from students and end users, which was really exciting to see how many people actually want to be involved. And what is really surprised me, we have a lot of new people who never heard about Kubeflow, and we really need to be, deeply think about how we can onboard those people who have never heard about this project and, explain them the value of what we've been doing for the last 8 years. So yeah, this was great, and we have a lot of other talks that I think we should publish the recordings afterwards. And right now we try to kind of onboard more companies and organizations to the work we're doing. On the SDK side, on the ML experience side, on the Cache side. So there are a lot of exciting things going on, and I think I would love us to, and especially on the outreach side, to kind of like sort of define a strategy, like how we can move forward. I know like we try to, from the steering committee perspective, kind of provide the guidelines, but maybe having some sort of structure format moving forward would be really nice for us. Yeah, but a huge, yeah, I think, maybe one thing I want to mention about the booth. So booth also was great. I think Chase and, Ricardo and other folks who actually participate in the booth and help us to stuff it. It was amazing, and I was really surprised how we make it ad hoc, without preparation. So Chase has done an amazing job to kind of onboard everyone and prepare the demo. And we even have a live demo of Cache in the booth, which is really cool. And if you're interested about all these photos and discussions, please join this Kubeflow Summit Slack channel. So a lot of, folks been in person, and, I finally meet all of you, like after, working with you for 6 years. So it was great to meet all of you in person. really hope you to, like we should have more events, something like this. So any other topic and questions or maybe comments from other folks who've been there?
Well, I can't wait to see you at North America. Yeah, at
Yeah.
KubeCon. I'll be there, and I'm excited to see all the folks here that choose to come too.
Definitely. Awesome. We should definitely start planning that at some point.
I think just maybe 1, 2 points that we should be focused on, and I think we will talk more about like once we have like some strategy. So graduation and conformance. I think this is two things that CNCF kind of push us to move forward. And I think we will definitely like maybe give updates maybe next week more, but us as a community should move to the graduation as fast as we can. And I think this should be a higher priority for us compared to all other, exciting things we're doing right now. Just the one statement I just want to make from the CNCF point of view, like where we should move towards to.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I think we're almost there based off of, and we've started to do that. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Awesome, thank you for that update, Andre. That's awesome. Wish I could have been there. See you in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next one's quite a few months away, but we should update the website as well to link to the new one now that it's there, so that people don't. So we're not.
I think maybe two short announcements. So we also have KubeCon India, KubeCon Japan, and KubeCon China. So a few things maybe. In KubeCon Japan, we have a talk in maintenance track. So myself and Yuki, I hope I will attend in person, but we'll see. But if someone actually will participate in KubeCon Japan, let me know. We will try to maybe organize some sort of meetup. In KubeCon China, I know a few folks actually submitted talks, and in KubeCon India, we also have people who want to submit the maintenance track and the sessions there. And we also, I think, try to some sort of prepare some sort of workshop or demo there. So if you're planning to attend those KubeCons, let me know, and I will contact you with the folks who actually will attend this KubeCon, especially in India, because we have some community who are planning to organize something there. I don't know if John in the call right now, but would be nice to connect those folks in the one chat. I think I see Akash is here, so let me know if you will attend, and I will add you to the Slack channel to talk about this.
Cool. Awesome. Let's so that I think we had someone who had a time constraint, so let's do the next Kubeflow SDK thing. Thank you so much, Andre.
Cool. Thanks, Master. Can I share my screen or?
What do you how long do you need it for a long time, or we can do it now?
Like just 10-15 minutes. I need to show a document really quick.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I don't think I have permission to do so.
You just need to request it. Just click the share button and it should ask.
Yeah, cool. Okay. That's probably 1 second.
If it's a public document, I can also just open it. Or
it's like Owen, can you make it public?
No, you don't have to do that. It's fine, it's fine. Just share your screen. Okay.
Okay, 1 second, sorry.
You're gonna be unleashed otherwise. If not, then we'll move on to a different topic until you've got that sorted. GSOC. Let's do a quick GSOC discussion. So just if everyone is aware, obviously
kicked me out.
Okay, while you're figuring that out, we'll just do the GSOC one quickly. Okay, so yeah, GSOC it has the deadline is literally in a few hours. I don't know exactly how many hours this is in. So if anyone's watching this and hasn't submitted, you will not be participating unless you have submitted a proposal. Obviously, you only get participating if we select you as well, but you'll definitely not be participating if you don't submit one. So let me just check when that is. That is 1800 hours.
It's 12 o'clock. I think 12 or 10 is.
So it's 11 a.m. Pacific. So if you're on 11 a.m. in West Coast US time. I don't know what that is in other time zones. Okay, so that is in 3 hours. Okay. Just
2 hours.
2 hours and a bit. 2 and a bit. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Just be very careful about that. Make sure you submit your proposal. You can't update it after that time at all. Again, we will be reaching out to people to do interviews and other things like that. Because it's so soon, we won't talk about anything in specific. But I just wanted to call that out to people. So once we're in the phase where we're reviewing people's proposals, we should probably we should be discussing, and the mentors should be discussing to plan out, because I don't know, do we know how many slots? I guess we don't know how many slots until we actually apply.
I mean, I can give a little update on there, Matthew. Okay. Brace yourselves, guys. we have 187 proposals so far. So out of that, maybe, I guess half of them probably, people, there's been a lot of talk about spam-based GSOC proposals by in many organizations, and I don't think we are immune to that either. So there may be a bunch of them with that. So I will go through the first sanitized list and maybe figure out, what's the next plan of actions are for the mentors to go through and figure out which projects, whom they need to interview in a day or two here.
I think last time we created a sheet where we tried to
Right.
we put all of them and then we tried to assign specific people to review each one. We still have the problem of we're going to have way more projects than we probably get
Right.
students, right? So we might need to do some discussion around we should look at the proposals first because it should be based off that. And then based off that, we need to kind of have a meeting or something where we just figure out, okay, assume we get like 9 or 10 projects or something. Which one of these are the ones we actually really want?
Yeah, I think what I am gonna propose, if there is a meeting we can do with the mentors, that would be great. But otherwise, I'm gonna ask all the mentors to at least first look at going through spending like 2 minutes on a proposal to see if there's something they want to take a deep look at it or not, or ignore it. Kind of bring the 187 number to a manageable number that we can chew upon, right? Each project maybe should choose about 5 top proposals and then start to interview those guys rather than selecting a lot more based on the proposals and based on the community involvement that a person is brought in. Then we can go from there in organizing. How do we organize that? So more to come on that, in next couple of days for sure.
Yeah, so let's make like a Google sheet, I think, and share it with all the mentor. And also, again, you don't have to. People like mentoring is a lot of work as well. So make sure that you choose whether you're gonna do it like in the next wee while. Obviously, if things change, that's fine too. But like by signing on, you're committing to mentor. As soon as you've ranked a proposal in your mentor UI in the thing, you're signing on to agree that you're going to be doing this for the next few months. So don't do that unless you actually have time to do it.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's a good comment. Yeah, Ramesh, because I'm new as a mentor, so it would be great to have a follow-up and you to give us a quick, recap of the things that Matthew that I don't know. So thank you, Matthew.
Google will also send you information after they'll send an email out to all the mentors as well saying like, here's the process. Anyway, cool. I just wanted to highlight that. We'll keep talking about this. Obviously, we've got a few weeks to do the reviews, but
I think it's not a huge lot of time. Let me see the timeline. If anybody has the timeline available.
Okay, there might be some. I don't know when we have to submit our reviews before. I didn't put that on here. Yes. Okay. Awesome. If you can figure that out, have you figured out your screen sharing issue?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. I will stop sharing and you can do that.
Okay, I've sent a request.
Yeah, I did it. Yep.
Cool. Please let me know when you see my screen.
I do.
Just before we continue on, 29th is the deadline for us to submit the proposal ranking.
We do have a couple of weeks, but but it does take, in my experience, it does take a couple of weeks because you have to organize interviews with people. We also then have to have a big fight about whose projects are more important. Also, then there's the debate around some of the projects as well.
Yeah.
But, yes.
Just want to
we will handle that later. That's fine.
Anyway, yeah. So, what was? Do you want to just introduce yourself and what you're going to talk about, person?
Okay, so hello again, everyone. My name is Saad, and I contribute from time to time to Kubeflow Trainer. And here I will be talking about like the local execution mode proposal for Kubeflow SDK or Kubeflow Trainer SDK. As you might know, like the user experience, people getting voice components like Ray and other like available trainers out there is like you can run locally on your machine and then you can submit the job on a distributed cluster. So we're trying to replicate the same thing based on an issue that was proposed by Francisco a long time ago in the Kubeflow Trainer issues. So it's a great user experience that we'd like to give to the Kubeflow SDK users. The scope of this, we're trying to implement this. There's two ways we're attempting to implement this. One is using Docker, and with Docker, the reason we're choosing Docker is like we can get the same distributed fashion like the Kubeflow trainer, but in a local experience. Some user or some data scientists or machine learning engineers might not have Docker. That's why we have lined up next is a sub process for execution as being suggested here by Francisco, you'd see. We have some code already and we can do a demo. So the execution flow with this will be like the user will start initialize the SDK, send some parameters, and based on the parameter, we can choose like either we use the Kubernetes based trainer, which is like the training client, which is a default client for the Kubeflow SDK, or we can just use a local trainer. I can zoom in if that's not clear a bit. And I can share I'll share the document. I don't own it, so I'll share it later. So this is like the initial execution. The Docker client or the Docker trainer will start by preparing a local Docker environment where it will create a network, isolated network for the training job. It will create a volume and will use the model and data initializers available here. This is just sample commands that you can do this manually. We don't have to execute it manually. As I mentioned here, it will be done programmatically by the Docker client that we have implemented or will implement. It's already implemented now behind the scenes. So the data scientist will just like say, I would like to use Docker, and he doesn't have to worry about anything. We'll be using labels to annotate our training job and to make sure like everything is linked together, and by generating a training job name or ID similar to the one used by the trainer, and will be use a package initializer, the model initializer and dataset initializer from the trainer as well, or similar to the same code available in the trainer. Again, we have right now, we can show a demo if we have time of a single container being spun up on Docker, and execute the training job if we have time for this. But the normal execution flow will be like the trainer SDK will initialize. Do we need to? Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, hey, Saad. Actually, I think this is super great. I don't think we need to dive too far into the details, because I think we can actually share that with the training community. I think we can probably show the lightweight demo if it's pretty short. I think like what we wanted to probably do is just kind of show the community that like this is something that we're working on, and kind of surface it. And I know that Andre, we had talked about surfacing more community demos early on to give folks a flavor of what we're doing. So that was kind of the idea.
Perfect. So Owen is the one who was mainly working on the implementation. Owen, can you show us a demo really quick?
Yeah, sure. I'll share my screen now.
You might need to stop sharing your screen.
Yeah, Saad, I think you have to stop sharing. Hopefully we don't have any more screen sharing challenges.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Saad.
Before on Zoom. Oh, we have.
Okay, cool. Working.
Okay, perfect. You can see that okay?
Yeah, we can see the browser, I believe, and your GitHub.
Cool. So I can share just, this is a very kind of early work in progress on this, PR for this. So basically we've implemented a local trainer client. So this client implements the same interface as the existing trainer client. And so we can import it just along with the trainer client, and the usage can be like this. Say, for instance, in this example, we're just taking an environment variable, and if the Kubeflow trainer exec mode is set to local, we're going to initialize a local trainer client. Otherwise, we're going to create a regular trainer client. Then the remainder of the code will stay the same, because the interface is the same for both clients. So I could currently, this is just running on a single Docker container. The kind of distributed part is kind of a work in progress, but I could try just running this now so I'm going to export this environment variable, setting the exec mode to local, and I'm just going to run this this little Scratch file I have here. So yeah, I have followed the logs here. So what this is doing is it's listing these local runtimes. we can talk about that on another date. It's probably not important implementation detail at this moment, but this is now running the job locally on a Docker client or on a Docker container. If I open another terminal and just do Docker PS, you'll see there's this image is running here. There's just currently it's just a single node, so there's just one node rank, node 0, and it's also, if I do Docker, I think it's network ls, there's a Docker network has been created for that. I need to clean up the other ones, but if I just quickly open up just a Python shell here, I can just demonstrate some of the other methods. I can import the local trainer client and create an instance of this client. And for instance, all the methods that usually exist on your trainer client are available here to get logs, get jobs, or to delete a job, for instance. So I could delete that job that I just created, and this will remove the container and remove the Docker network. And yeah, and it didn't. Okay, I stopped it before that training job was over, but yeah, it does compete to success there. Yeah, so that's kind of it for this short demo. I suppose the next stage is to implement kind of this distributed mode where we can run multiple container nodes, multiple workers, and run torch jobs on those. So is there any questions about that?
My main question is about that specifically. Distributed, what is your plan? So is this only for local right now? And it's a bit weird to do distributed though when the training operator is for Kubernetes though, right?
Exactly, yeah. So the idea is like locally, we can just give you a glimpse of how it will look like in Kubernetes. So you can just test the stuff, run stuff. You don't have to run the full training job locally. But if you want to run it, it will still run. The interface is still supported. It replicates the same thing that happens in the Kubernetes. That's why we are using the runtime environment definitions that already existing in the trainer to replicate the same thing. So if you have a runtime with a number of nodes equal 1, it will just spin one Docker container. We just wanted to replicate the same user experience you would get for with the Kubernetes trainer locally on your machine first before you go. Then for more convenient, if you would like to train locally, which is not feasible, but maybe for a small training model, you could do that locally. If you're just playing around, trying to figure out or learning or doing some experimentation, that could be a good environment to test the stuff without wasting huge resources on Kubernetes if you're utilizing GPUs or using a Kubernetes instance. And for data scientists, that might be a blocker because you don't have much Kubernetes experience. So they would request it from MLOps engineers and wait till they provision the infrastructure and become ready and all that kind of stuff. So the idea is to support Docker. If you're familiar with Docker, you can use it and you can get a glimpse of how distributed training will look like, and you can use local subprocess if that makes sense to you as well. We see this as a huge improvement in the user experience from a machine learning and data scientist point of view, because you can just like open a notebook, run within the notebook. You don't have to worry about infrastructure or even Docker or anything like that. So, but the default execution mode will be always Kubernetes. So you have to be aware that you have to change that to your stuff. Also, playing with runtime environment, it will be also good for MLOps engineers if they would like to experiment with runtimes locally before they submit to Kubernetes. It might not be exactly the case, but it will give them a hint of how it will look like when they go to Kubernetes. So, and also be useful in our tests. We don't have to build Kubernetes. I know we can use a kind, but still will be like an easy to get an idea. It would be like a good start point to get an idea about how things will look like if you go with Kubernetes. That is the main objective.
Assad, Aaron, I think this is great. I think I know that this was, we just got this work done like maybe like hours ago. And so it's still a little fresh, and I think that we plan to submit a cap and some more PRs upstream to kind of surface this. I think we wanted to, since it was early, take a chance to share it with the community. I think this is really great work. Andre,
I think I mean, I think this is awesome. Like, I think we should definitely talk about this next Wednesday on the training working call and also like discuss it more. I guess like the question is how I know KFP also supports sub-process runner and Docker runner, right?
Yeah.
The question how we make it consistent, right?
And that's actually like Saad's team will be working with Humair as well on that.
So let's definitely talk on this more, like, because I
Yeah.
get back to the Matthew point. Sometimes you require additional orchestration, like secrets and config maps, right? How we can support those things, right? And networking. So yeah,
Are you
there are
like
definitely like
virtualizing that? Like, is that what's happening? Are you just like running a kind cluster inside this container, or
they
what?
don't run kind. They just directly
No.
interact with Docker APIs. I can see on the PR. So
So it's,
Exactly.
when you said distributed, we're not doing this version distributed, right? Because that doesn't make a lot of sense. We're doing this locally on you, right? Or
Yeah. No multiple nodes. It just like runs locally on your local Docker installation. So
and also my other concern is it doesn't matter because in notebooks you have a Kubernetes cluster because obviously you're in a Kubeflow notebook. But like in Kubeflow notebooks, obviously any sensible Kubernetes cluster will not let you run a Docker container within a Docker container because it would be a massive security risk. So what I'm saying is this will never run in Kubeflow notebooks. It's just not possible because it uses Docker.
So really quick on this, you can run a notebook outside Kubernetes locally on your
I know.
without
Of
any
course.
all of this environment. You know, I know for sure. But we don't attempt to install Docker. We don't attempt to install anything. If Docker is not available, we'll say like we cannot run this. That's why we're also like proposing to support sub processes, which will be okay. You can just run a sub process if you'd like to check it out and not to train the full model in your local instance of notebook or your local machine. You know what I mean? So just like to see how things will work, if everything is okay. That's why we're trying to replicate how Kubernetes trainer does, how Kubernetes Kubeflow trainer does the whole stuff to make sure it aligns with what's happening in Kubernetes. So you can just remove the local trainer, add Kubernetes trainer, and tada, everything works. You don't have to
though
change
if we
any
have
parameters.
dependency on Docker, don't we want to have dependency on kind and kind of abstract this complexity?
So we don't have to we're not installing Docker, we're not installing anything. Kind will need to use Docker to spin up a Kubernetes cluster. So we're adding
but
two
without
dependencies.
yeah, makes sense.
My only
So I think
concern,
this, let's talk on this more, like, because like
Sure.
again the question is like what I guess like we need to replicate those APIs on Docker as well, right? Because we need to interact with Docker API and they have CRD definitions, so some of these things need to be sort of abstracted. So
yeah, we'll share the link to the initial implementation we have, and we can discuss it in more details. We didn't make a production ready thing. We just like demo POC. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right. Thank you guys so
everyone.
much.
Thanks,
I think this is
Owen.
great. Again, let's discuss it more. I would love to, like just dive deep in the cap and definitely let's talk about it more. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Perfect.
Awesome.
That was great. Thank you.
Cool. Definitely interesting. Can you link that design doc in the thing so that people can take a look at it?
Yeah. We'll make it public.
Make sure you don't make it editable by anyone though. Make it viewer only. Make a viewer link just as a pro tip.
Perfect. We'll do that. Thank you.
Awesome.
I have a question. So right now the PR is in draft mode and we have the document and I hear there will be more discussions. What are the next steps? I guess.
Well, I think they need to discuss it in the training operator because this is not even into the training operator's repo. This is just into their fork of it. So like, I'm assuming there will be a discussion and there'll probably be things that happen. So go to that meeting if you want to discuss. I'd suggest.
Yeah, we'll probably, and Andre, we wanted to share it here. Oh, I think Andre dropped off actually. We'll probably aim to present this at the AutoML working group and share it with the community there. But because of the nature of like enabling a broader, easier user experience, we thought we'd share it here as well with the community.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
That's unfortunate Andre left because I wanted to ask him about this as well, which is something which is like I'll just say it here in case I probably should talk about it at the other meeting as well. But I've just seen a lot of people be very confused that Training Operator has no UI integration at all with Kubeflow, and I feel like there is value to kicking off a training job using whatever method you use, Trainer, SDK, or manually, and then being able to monitor the status of that job using a UI that's like authorized in the Kubeflow platform UI. And I just wanted to bring that up again. I think we've talked about it many times, but it's more of a question for Andre. So if anyone wants to say anything, they can. But
yeah, I also think that's quite important long term.
Yeah.
Also, if you show the capabilities, people see the UI first.
Yes, because a lot of people Kubeflow, the UI is like the main thing they think of, even if they're submitting it through CLI and stuff. But I know that there's always, I know that this is a point of discussion in the community around, standalone versus platform deployment. So anyway, we'll come back to that. But there's also discussion obviously about doing it through a JupyterLab plugin, but I don't know if that's easier than just making a. I know that the training operator wants to remain isolated from the platform piece, so I wonder if that's just why they haven't done it. Okay. I just want to highlight this is that it looks like I've seen a bunch of issues where people with high level permissions accidentally approving things. Just make sure that you realize that when you do an approve using GitHub, it will approve the PR with a label. But I'm thinking that we should just stop that. Like we can make it so that Prowl doesn't treat that as an approve, so that people can still, because I know that people like to use the GitHub approval as like a multiple people approve situation, and then someone with the actual approval of permissions does a /approve. Because sometimes, and I think this mainly happens on pull requests that have lots of people reviewing them rather than one or two. Because like in a code pull request, normally there's not 20 people reviewing it, but in like a community one, the problem is that oftentimes a lot of very high privileged people are looking at it at the same time, and then they all do the GitHub approval without the intention to actually merge it. But then it gets, so I think in that vein, while it will affect everyone, we can either make it not do it on all the community repos, like website and stuff, or we could just make it not do it anywhere. So I guess this is a question for the community as to which way around we do it. Like probably consistency is better so that it's not confusing, because otherwise,
I
but
would agree. I guess like the one thing is that like being an anti-pattern to like GitHub in general doesn't feel like a good choice for newbies, and we always had to tell everybody, hey, look, this is the way we do it. But also, I'm one of the people who've done this thing, so like I
yeah, a
empathize.
couple of times I'm not calling
Yeah,
out names,
yeah.
I swear. I'm not.
No, I'm like I'm shunning myself because I thought someone put a hold on it because it was so much discussion, but yeah,
Yeah, holds in my mind, like holds shouldn't be necessary most of the time, right? That holds are definitely there if it's like, oh, definitely please don't merge this. But like the problem
yeah.
is that the community ones kind of always have a hold on them in inverted commas because like they're meant to be like discussions. But yeah. So
Maybe we should take this
yeah.
one to discuss it in Slack publicly and get people's thoughts. Because I like there are pros and cons. And like, like, yeah, I'm
I
gonna
don't
board
think many people are
what's my bad.
using. I think most approvers are going to be able to handle just having an approved comment, right? I think the only thing that we lose is when someone gives a request changes, it doesn't unapprove them. Then if we turn off the interesting, if we turn off the integration with GitHub reviews process, that's the only thing we lose.
Yeah, I
Because it's
just really
like,
don't like the
yeah.
turning off the integration with GitHub as a yeah, I mean, and again, let's discuss
I think
this.
it's fine. I think it is fine to do. I just because people want to be able to use the GitHub as more of an LGTM in my mind than an approve, right? The problem is that but the problem is because it's approved, then it's approved, right? That's the issue.
Yeah. Let's just discuss this in Slack because I think like there's there are pros and cons here. We just have to kind of think it through.
Yeah, I agree. I think Slack will work to discuss this in more detail.
Yeah, so there's a prow setting that can do this. I mean, I'll make a pull request in the prow and then we can discuss it on that thread maybe.
That works.
Cool. I think it's fine to do. It doesn't really, I mean, it's easy to undo if we all have a big disagreement. But anyway, I think since it only affects approvers, it only affects people who would be in this call pretty much anyway. So, or just high level people who are normally available. Okay. This is someone was discussing this.
Yeah. As I said before, there was a discussion about using these rerun actions, but it seems like we don't need this anymore because now Prowl can rerun specific workflows.
It cannot
So,
rerun specific workflows. So that's the one qualifier. Unless we do an upgrade. So we can
yeah.
make it do specific ones, but there's two problems. The first is how do you specify an ID? So sorry, I take it back. It is if we want to, we could make a pull request into Prow itself that will solve this problem for specific workflows. But most of the time, what we actually want to do is just run failed ones again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we actually need in pipelines.
So this is already available for everyone. If you just run /retest, it will work currently. The only thing that won't be available to you is say, oh, I want to rerun a successful run. I want to take that one that was successful and do it again for some reason.
But
yeah,
this
I don't
you can also trigger via Git, I guess. Just some pushing a
GitHub,
dummy
you mean?
commit.
Oh, you can do that too. Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah. You can either use the GitHub UI or just commit a fake commit. Yeah, you can do that. To rerun all the tests. So I think this should be fine because of that. Also, this hasn't been updated in a long time, it looks like, but it's so yeah, I've seen a bunch of people using that prowl thing, but I think so what I'm saying is we probably can just remove those actions as well, and also it reduces the security vulnerability as well, dependency on an external package and things like that.
Andre, do you remember that we discussed that? So just for your
Andre's
information.
not on the call right now.
Oh, he's not anymore. Okay. I just wanted he to know about this. So we don't need to run this action anymore.
So if you want, we can also we should probably go through and clean up all the old references to that rerun actions thing. Because there's probably quite a few across the org. But yeah, you might if you've had this conversation, just tell Andre about it. And maybe we should also just like, I don't know how we should probably tell how do we tell everyone that this is a thing that you can do. I don't know.
I can tell Andre, but
we need to like make other people aware as well, I think.
yeah.
Or maybe that's what we should do. In every repo that has it, we should pull request, remove it, and then tag all the maintainers that have approval privileges, and then they'll probably learn from that.
Yeah, that's a good idea, I think.
Are you? I mean, I'm not trying to give you a task, but do you have time to make such pull requests, or?
I probably have. I can try it. Otherwise, we can talk again.
Yeah, we should start with anyway, let's just search for them. Yeah, there's not that many, I don't think. So it's like 3 or 4 repos that have it. Cool. Anything else about that?
No, nothing else done. Thank you, Matthew.
Awesome. I think we'll move this to another meeting because I think this wasn't quite ready yet. Anything else about the release that we want to talk about? I think we have to make a blog. We've already got the blog post, but I think because it was accidentally merged, I think we do need some updates because I think there was some typos and other things that hadn't been fixed and things like that. So I don't know if Ricardo's still here.
Ricardo's not, Dimitri's not, but I can follow up with them.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Like, so what I'm saying is we could like. I don't think it was quite in a finalized state, if you know what I mean. So like, I think there was probably the possibility of for example, I can see that this link is wrong. For example, when I checked it before, this actually links to the 111 link.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We'll follow up with them.
Yes. Yeah. It's already been shared around, so it kind of is a bit. The horse may have already bolted, but
But that's like, I mean, the like there are 2 views I have here. One, we take way too long to get a PR merged, and then secondly, like we can just fix these things. People going to the page and having a broken link is a bad experience, but at least they're getting the awareness that we've cut the release. And so, like, again, in an ideal world, it would have been right. And shame on me for accidentally merging it prematurely. My bad, everybody. But like, I really do want to emphasize that we take way too long to get some of these things out, and like it's a real cost.
I think that's a separate issue, though, to the yeah.
I agree. Well, it's correlated. These things are all correlated, and so like I wouldn't say it's entirely separate, but I hear the
like what I'm saying is just because we don't have like I don't think we should ever get to the point where like it's because we're an open source project. Sometimes we're just not going to have resource to get things done quickly, and sometimes it's going to be a disagreement. And so I think the 2 solutions to that are have more people, but also have a definite process for when we merge community PRs, right? I think that's the like. And so who gets to have final say, yes, no, because that's really the solution to that problem. But it doesn't fix the fact that, maybe there isn't enough people to write the thing to get to the level where we could merge it, for example.
Yeah.
But, yes.
Well, yeah, I think that the problem is that we shouldn't. The general problem is we don't need consensus to do things. We just need like, majority agreement. Anyways.
Well, like, yeah, community like voice stuff though is really complicated, right? Where it's like anytime we're speaking as the community, I think that's where it becomes an issue.
Yeah. Anyways, we can move on.
So one quick question. So are those feedback on the PR that was already merged, or should we like
Well, we need to review it.
again.
Like, I think there's a clearly like
Review it
stuff
again.
missing. Like, there's like dot here. I'm not sure if that was meant to ever be there.
Yeah. Oh.
And like, so
Yeah, and the URL broken. Yeah.
and some
Okay, got
random links.
it.
And also, like, I mean, it's a bit late for like structural changes, but like, I don't know if like there's not really a huge like the highlight features is a bunch of bullet points. Maybe we should have made this into like a sentence or something, you know.
I
But
think
yeah.
the bullet points. I mean, I'm actually preferential towards bullet points, right? Because it's easier for people to skim
Then we
through.
should be linking them as well. Like, we should probably be.
Yeah. I created a template for future blogs. Maybe I have it in a Word document. Maybe I will create like I don't know, PR sample. So we do have it and then we provide feedback. And the idea for that is like we reuse that template in each release and we all agree on the structure and what's important to highlight because I know we spent some time on that this time. But yeah, let me take a look
at
at
the
this.
Kubernetes release blogs. I'll show you like they have a specific kind of structure. You know, like major changes, and this is actually the quick peek one. Sorry. Like yeah, so they have some funny things, but then they talk about major themes, and then they talk about specific changes, and they link to various sections. But I think we could start from this maybe. I don't know, something like this, but
oh yeah, we'll take a look at that. Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree.
Because yeah, most people aren't going to care about specific changes though, but we should have a link off to places, because it's a blog post. The idea is we can all on our blogs be like on our LinkedIn and stuff be like, hey, Kubeflow is released. And for most people on our LinkedIn, they're not going to be like, oh, manifests or notebooks changed this particular bug feature. It's like unless it was a huge thing like Notebooks 2.0 or rebranding trainer and things like that. It's not gonna, it's gonna be like themes and things, and then we need to have a place to link them off to, I think.
We talk about being more high level and not necessarily list everything because people, as you said, that they want to go more about trainer, they go into the roadmap and learn everything. So yeah, I agree. Okay,
like
so
any
first,
breaking change though does need to be in the blog. I think any breaking or significant change, like moving to GHCR rather than Docker and things like that, that needs to be in there. But it's like it's in the current structure. I think it's not even that high. It's not even that clear that like there are some very significant changes. Like Trainer 2.0, but technically this isn't released yet, so I'm not entirely clear what that means. But
yeah, I don't know what's there.
But having a requirement to link to anything probably would fix that problem because they'd be like, oh wait, there's no link because it doesn't exist. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, okay, I will take a look. I will prioritize it because it's live already. Good.
Yes, I don't know what to do about the existing blog post. Does anyone have any thoughts there, or if we need to?
Well, I think we just need to update it, right? And I think like who was writing it? It was
It was a mixture of a lot of people, I think.
Demetrius.
That's right. Demetrius is right. So I think can we follow up?
I review it. I provide a lot of feedback. I don't know if that was incorporated, but I think what we need to do is more cycles as well. Once everyone, Demetrius takes all the feedback, we'll all kind of review it again at least once, or someone else review it once. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think again we should have a process of emerging. Yeah. Sorry.
Why don't we just why don't we all just divide and conquer whatever we can adjust? Why don't we all just try to take that on? We can ping Demetrius, but I just don't know if he will be as responsive to it. Or we can pull it down. I'm also pro just reverting it and saying like not until this is addressed will we publish it.
I think we can't do that because people have linked to it on LinkedIn.
I can review it. I can review it and I create a PR.
I think like the question is, first question is, are we going to structurally change it or are we just going to keep it in its current structure?
I think it's mostly changes to the content, less to the structure. So you could just go to the PR, see this is still open, add it, run it through an LLM, check for spelling errors, and then create a pull request and ping someone from the KC to approve it and merge it.
Like, I'm just not sure that this is a particularly useful blog post in its current form. Like, if we look at previous blog posts, they're quite different.
Yeah.
So like they are like, oh, this is like some highlights. Here's some changes with words about what changed, some photos.
Matthew, my view here is I understand if you want to invest in proposing a new one and cutting a new PR, I will review that myself. In the absence of that, this is better than zero.
It is better than zero. I do think we should be, okay, it's fine. We should probably at least.
So I'll be super clear, right? Like it's it's easy for us to say, well, here's what is missing, but unless we go and do the work to cut it ourselves, there's a balance of how much we should ask for community members, right? Because again, the alternative is nothing. Which we've done the work. We should spend time talking about the work.
And we're spending more time discussing these things than actually creating PRs to
correct, and that's the part
posts.
yeah, correct. That's the part that frustrates me, to be honest. Yeah.
I think marketing though is critical. Like in this, like for releases, like no one will use the release unless they know it exists, right? So we do need
100%. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Yeah, cut the PR. I'll approve it today.
Yeah, I understand. Like it just also again, anytime anyone is speaking with the voice of the project, it is complicated to get approval because the way that we present ourselves impacts a lot, right? So you can go the clinical route and just be like list of features, or you can go the editorial route and be like, Kubeflow is a platform. Because again, that comment is controversial within the community. Like some people view Kubeflow as a selection of tools, and some people view it as a platform. Like, and fundamentally, we've got those are not compatible beliefs in some sense, right? So like, so then whoever wins in the voice of the project gets to have their view be more promoted, right? So this is kind of where we start having problems, right?
Well, the good news that I think the KSC is on the hook for ultimate making those decisions, right? Like we have a process for saying how we make certain decisions amongst a group of people that were elected, and so I think that's the point. And so like I'm not saying that we'll always be right. You can't make an omelet without breaking a couple eggs. But yeah, I think like the aim is to, again, we've done the release of the work. Maybe the blog can be enhanced or improved for sure, like fixing typos and the kind of minor stuff. That's just good decorum. Structural changes, like I'm definitely open to reviewing a PR for sure. Yeah.
My like separate to all this for future blog posts and changes to like voice of the project level stuff. I think we should just have KSC vote and require a normal vote for it. Like just like to merge. I mean, to do the cut until we have like a marketing team.
Yeah, that's actually fair. That's fair. Yeah, and
because even though practically a KSC member can merge any PR, it's more like
no, I agree. I agree with that as a process. In fact, like I think it was discussed by Stefano too, and but like the Kubeflow outreach committee should probably be responsible for these blog posts, and they should be a decision maker into that. And so I think that's kind of the longer term.
And maybe they should be like an editor, and then there should be an approver, like still processed from anytime you're speaking with the voice of the project. I think the KSC should approve. Like I just think that probably. But then because even if they create the proposal, they probably should
The problem is that we end up becoming a bottleneck, right? And so it's just like, how much of a bottleneck do we want to be on different things? And I just don't think it's sustainable for us to have to I'd rather empower the right people and rather than us have to be like a dependency there, if that makes sense.
Like I don't think anyone else could really do it though. I'm not sure how we could do it. Like there's only one group who are kind of empowered to even do such a thing, right? That's my only concern. Anyway. We can probably talk about it for the future, probably, but yeah. Okay, I just
so
want to
far
highlight.
it's working. There wasn't something major, dangerous that has been applied and it harmed anyone. So
there have definitely been cases where it would have been better if multiple KSC members were aware of a community voice change. But I'll leave it at that. Like even in this case, right? I mean, people were aware of it, but like it just would have been nice to have like, oh yes, we're all happy with it now kind of situation. I know this was more of an accident, so it's hard to.
Yeah, but and even like it's an accident. How much I regret it is just like like definitely 70%. But there's 30% of me is just like it needed to get merged eventually, anyways. And we've heard feedback before from people about this blog post from other members about kind of frustrations, candidly, about our speed in doing these things, and in particular, and it was also in reference to this blog post, and so like I empathize deeply with that in my experience with the community, and so like that's part of the job is like we were elected to make decisions and move things along, but again like again 70% of me was just like, man, that was a bork of let's be our
okay, anyway. Yeah. So anyway, let's I think community has always had problems merging community. Oh, Valentina, hey.
No, just want to say before we all leave and all of that, since we are talking about the release and related to KubeCon, when we were talking about the release on the maintainer session, we were talking also on the Kubeflow Summit. everyone got a big shout out because of your contribution. So I want to mention this because I think it's important. You were not in the room maybe, but you were recognized for the community. Everyone have, clapped for a couple of minutes. So I want to provide that feedback, like maybe you couldn't make it, watch the recording once the video is available, but everyone celebrated the community and your contribution. So, just keep going. And also Matthew Wicks, we talk about the dark side mode as well. So you got, the kudos for working on that. And Julius, who has been contributed so much with the release as well. I mean, everyone in general, but I want to mention also the, two personas that are here on this call. But yeah, it was amazing. Like everyone was very excited, as attendees, they were like, wow, that's great, and clapping and everything. It was really exciting. So I just wanted to translate that emotion to you all that maybe couldn't make it. So thank you so much for all your work.
Yes, thank you, Matt. We really do appreciate it.
Of course.
Also, yeah, I mean, I'm just doing random things. Like the tools are what make the project, and I only maintain one of the tools. So, and so like in the end, no one would use Kubeflow if pipelines wasn't useful and Trainer wasn't useful, and Feast obviously is not part of it yet, but maybe things like that.
It's half
like,
useful.
well, it's useful. It's just I'm not part of Kubeflow. But like,
yeah, it's like half there, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're at time.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and I just do want to highlight one thing though. That I do really want to pull out. We need to be migrating all the old tags from Docker up to GHCR. I know that they have they keep going back and forth on their rate limits, but but like I think as a temporary measure, we should still migrate all the old tags to the new repo. We did do this for notebooks and all of the central dashboard and other things. We made a tool to do it, make it easier, and so and I'm sure Andy would be willing to help every project do that for their existing things. And also I have, if necessary, we can run it on my account, but because I have like an enterprise account for Docker. But other than that, we can talk about these other topics next week. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.
Awesome.